So here I am to tell you the story about why and how I am worth 11 camel. True story. And I need to set you up a little bit so you can get the picture of who I was at the time and why I might be worth 11 camel. I had a friend, my best friend in high school. We had made the pact, the decision to go to France for a year to study and to have an adventure. And we left immediately as soon as grade 13 finished and we had graduated. Yes, I said grade 13. It was way back in the olden days when there was a grade 13. The olden days of Canada when it snowed from September to the end of June. And I had to walk 4 kilometers to school and 4 kilometers home through the snow, each way uphill. And my left boot always leaked. It was right at that point in our lives, and we left in June, right at the beginning of June, for France. And we were going to visit, to see, to stay with our friend that we had met and became very close to, Christiane, who was a teacher in France, a teacher of French at the lycée in France. And she invited us to come and stay, and we took her up on that offer. Anyway, she, Christiane, Jean-Pierre, her brother, who was about 23-ish, and my friend Barbara and myself, we decided to go to Morocco, driving through all of Spain first. And we had dedicated about 6-7 weeks to this trip. So a bunch of young people off on an adventure. We drove through Spain, as I said, down through the Rock of Gibraltar, we went past the Rock of Gibraltar to Tangier, I think, was our landing place after the ferry from the south tip of Spain to Morocco. And then we planned on going sort of inland to the Sahara Desert and down and around to the ocean, and then back up to visit Marrakesh, Fez, Casablanca, all of those beautiful cities. Anyway, down by the Sahara, and I think we were at Ouarzazate or Arfoud. It was one or the other. I'm not exactly sure which place it was. We came across this souk, a marketplace of camel, where the Bedouin would come. It must have been Arfoud, because that's the closest spot to the edge. Well, it's in the desert, but it's the edge of Morocco. And the Bedouin would come with the camels that they had trapped and captured and sell them. So it was a working market, not a tourist place, not a place where tourists would go to see sights. But this was, I'll tell you, a wonderful sight to see. So we stopped and we wandered through this souk looking at the camels, which, by the way, are disgusting animals. They spit. They're very arrogant. Nasty. But interesting. And some were hobbled, and some were just tethered, and there were Bedouin all over the place, wearing their blue robes. And one of them came to me and just asked out of the blue in French if I wanted to ride a camel. And I thought that was a great opportunity, so I said yes, of course, and got Christiane to take some pictures, which I'll insert right here. So I put in 2 pictures. The first picture, of course, is me on the camel, and the next picture is my friend Barbara and Jean-Pierre. So I'm sitting on the camel. I had a great big straw hat on my head, very much like the one that Barbara is wearing in the second picture. And I'm pleased as punch to be up on top of this camel. Christiane was taking pictures. And Jean-Pierre came over and he smacked the ass end of the camel. And it took off into this area full of camels, where there really weren't people, it was camels. And they were hobbled for the most part, or tethered. And I just hung on for dear life. Camels can go fast when they want to. When the camel stopped, I could see off in the distance, I didn't know how to drive a camel. I could see off in the distance this Bedouin that had put me up onto his camel, talking with Jean-Pierre, and a little kid that he had sent out to gather my camel and lead me back to my people. So I was in the process of recovering from the adrenaline rush of the camel taking off because Jean-Pierre was being a smartass and hit the butt end of the camel to make it take off. I had lost my hat. Another camel was happily eating it. And eventually I got back to where everybody was. And the Bedouin helped me down from the camel. And Christiane came over to me and she said, "We have to go now." And I looked at her and I said, "Did I do something? You know, should I not have taken this ride on this camel? You know, it wasn't my fault. You could talk to your brother about that." And she says, "No, we have to go now." And I looked around and Jean-Pierre and Barbara weren't there anymore. They were in the car. And the Bedouin was agitated and he was speaking not in French anymore, and he was upset. And Christiane just drags me away. And we get into the car and there's 3 or 4 Bedouin all around and they're all sort of angry-ish, you know, and she starts the car and we leave. And I said, "What was that all about? And I want to go back and get my hat." And she says, "We'll get you a new hat. Jean-Pierre just sold you for 11 camel." So it seems that the Bedouin who helped me up onto the camel had negotiated with Jean-Pierre because he thought that he was a wealthy man with 3 women in tow. And he wanted me because I was the fairest of the 3 women. And he first offered 9 camel and upped it when Jean-Pierre realized that this was serious. He upped it to 11. And that's when our wise friend Christiane got involved and said, "No, we're leaving now." But it caused a bit of a furor. And that's the story of me being worth 11 camel in Morocco all those years ago. That's it, that's all.